Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Wisconsin.
The I-94 rivalry renewed for the next 3 days. The Cubs and the Brewers, they will mix and match fans here at Miller Park. And we've got ourselves a series. On the mound, the Cubs send Justin Germano to the hill against Mark Rogers, who may have only 2, maybe 3 more starts before his season is done. Still looking for his first big league win. Looks for a little offensive support from RAMIREZ. The former Cub returns to the lineup after getting Sunday off. And another slugger, HART, had a day of rest Sunday, and he's ready for a return against their Central Division rivals. Hi, everybody. Craig Kashon alongside Jerry Augustine. Great to have you back here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. The heart of the order, I mentioned it. HART Ramirez, 2 out of 3. If you throw Braun in the mix, didn't play in yesterday's game. The Brewers got shut out. They're back in, ready for big production.
I'll tell you what, when you look at the strength of a ball club, you look at the middle of the order, and there's no question you have Braun, Ramirez, and HART. They have done a really good job. You look at the extra base hits. They are 3 of the top 5 hitters in all the National League as far as extra base hits. You want a good, strong part of your middle lineup, you put those 3 guys there, you've got good strength, and that's where the Brewers are basing their offense on.
Those are fun numbers when you add them all together between those 3 guys. 73 home runs and 217 RBIs, and they are ready to swing away against Chicago. Mark Rogers ready to pitch away. He's only had a few opportunities to get his first big league win, and tonight maybe one of his last shots being rocked. Tell you why when we come back to Miller Park.
Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, because when friends come together, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Toyota, when you choose Toyota, you get a lot for less. Toyota. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Roof is closed under the lights of Miller Park, and we're just about set for game one of this series. STARLIN, Castro, Ryan Braun, two of the top hitters since Castro's arrival date in the big leagues. You see 1-2 in the major leagues. A lot of hitting going on between those two franchise cornerstones here in this series. Hi, everybody. Alongside Bill Schroeder, I'm Brian Anderson. Great to have you with us tonight as we get set for game one of this three-game series against the Chicago Cubs. Brewers coming off a four-game split against the Philadelphia Phillies. And tonight, Rocket, is Mark Rogers on the mound. We get a chance to see Mark. His time is running short now with the Milwaukee Brewers, but he's been pretty impressive so far this year.
Well, he's not going to get sent down. They're talking about shutting him down, so he's going to be back next year, you would think, but he has been impressive. He has left with the lead 3 out of 4 games that he has started, and the impressive thing about Rogers is the fact that he pounds a strike zone. Here's a young kid up here in the big leagues, 6 walks, 24 strikeouts. That's a pretty good walk-to-strikeout ratio. Last time out, he came out a little bit shaky, gave up 4 runs, and then really settled down nicely, showing that even when he gets off to a bad start, he has the poise out there to get things together. That's what he did against Colorado.
Joe Rogers has great stuff. A former first-round draft pick on display here at Miller Park tonight. It's the border battle. It's the Brewers and Dale Swaim's Cubs. Game one coming up next. The I-94 rivalry, and Mark Rogers steps into it here. The Brewers have had a lot of success against the Cubs. Over their last 14 games at Miller Park, the Brewers have won 12 of them. Rogers tries to keep that trend alive here tonight. Brewers-Cubs on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Monday Night Baseball here. 3 games remaining in this homestand. The Brewers and the Cubs will play 2 night games, then a matinee on Wednesday. There's the former Brewer player, coach, manager, Dale Swaim. STARLIN Castro, his best hitter, best run producer, Alfonso Soriano. But it's been a rough season for the Northsiders. Piggly Wiggly batting order for the Cubs. Dale Swaim has DeJesus, Josh VITTERS, and Anthony Rizzo at the top. Alfonso, Soriano, Starlin, Castro, and Wellington. Castillo in the middle. Brent Jackson, big prospect coming up for the Cubs system. Darwin, Barney hits 8th. And Justin Germano will round it out. And there's Mark Rogers. And that's the theme of the day, Rock. Prospects on display for both of these clubs here tonight.
Well, and Mark Rogers, he may only have a few starts left for his season this year. They're talking about shutting him down in a few starts, but he's thrown very well. The impressive numbers for Mark Rogers: 6 walks, 24 strikeouts in 23 2/3 innings, less hits in innings pitched. He's certainly deserves to have a winner at least. He's left 3 of his last 4 starts with the lead.
The proud new Papa, his child born just 1 week ago today. Here's his outfield behind him with Braun, Gomez, and Aoki. On infield of Ramirez, Segura, Weeks, and Hart. And Lucroy does the catching. Menards Brewers defense. Ready for the first pitch tonight from Miller Park. David DeJesus will lead off. Mark Rogers has 119 innings pitched this year. 23 plus coming in the major leagues this season, and that's why they're talking about a shutdown for Mark Rogers as he's getting near his innings limit. Underway here at Miller Park. Ball 1 from Rogers. The 4-man umpiring crew: Marty Foster, Eric Cooper, Jeff Kellogg, and Vic Carapazza. There's the crew chief, Jeff Kellogg. David DeJesus has been a hot hitter for the Cubs as he takes strike 1 from Rogers. Had 3 hits yesterday in a loss. That was a walk-off loss in Cincinnati. DeJesus had 3 hits, an RBI, had a double, scored a couple of runs, and has been a very productive hitter at the top of this batting order.
Yeah, Dale Swaim just finding some type of a combination that could get some runs on the board. Chicago Cubs dead last in runs scored in the National League, last in on-base percentage, hits, walks. It's been a very tough season offensively for the Chicago Cubs.
2-1 to DeJesus. That one's ripped fair down the right field line, hits the sidewall. Weeks is out, and DeJesus is in with a double. So the Cubs get a quick start from David DeJesus, a leadoff double.
Well, Mark Rogers got off to a slow start his last time out. Gave up 4 runs and then settled down. 4 runs in the first inning in 2/3 against the Rockies, and then settled down nicely. Well, it just shows you that even after a rough start, he can put things together. DeJesus would lead off double.
So here's Josh Vitters, among the top young prospects for the Chicago Cubs. Names like Vitters and Rizzo, Brent Jackson. These are all guys that the Cubs were hoping to see surface in the major leagues this year, and now they are seeing them, and evaluation time for the Cubs. Josh Vitters hitting just .091. He has 3 hits and 33 at bats. Has 3 runs batted in. Cubs have been able to trim some payroll. Traded Ryan Dempster away, traded him to the Texas Rangers. He's pitching tonight for the Rangers.
Now, and you would figure this is a good audition for a lot of these young players. The Cubs are trying to figure out what they need to do in the offseason to prepare for next year. A lot of young, hungry players that you can't take them for granted, particularly the guy right there, Rizzo.
There's a swing and a miss. Mark Rogers with a good hook for his first strikeout. Now a scouting report on Mark Rogers, what he needs to do tonight. We went to his pitching coach, Rick Kranitz.
What I want him to focus on is what he can do. You know, we don't need to worry about what what they do. He needs to worry about what he does and be aggressive with what he brings to the table, which is pretty good stuff. So, you know, he's thrown the ball over the plate. He's been aggressive, and I think it's shown.
Well, again, I mean, you know, if you're Mark Rogers, you basically have two pitches. That good fastball, the breaking pitch, and as Rick Kranitz was talking about, don't worry if a guy hits a breaking ball. I mean, you have a very good one, so throw it to him. See if he's going to hit yours.
Now Rogers against Rizzo, and this could be a great confrontation for years to come if these two carry forward as their expectation levels are right now. Rizzo is one of the anchors of the Chicago Cubs system, and he was promoted, plays first base. He's just 23 years of age. Cubs are run by former Red Sox front office. Theo Epstein is the president, Jed Hoyer the general manager, and those two had Rizzo in Boston as a big prospect. Rizzo was then traded to San Diego in the Adrian Gonzalez deal when Jed Hoyer was the general manager in San Diego. Now Hoyer has rejoined Theo Epstein as the top brass in the baseball operations with the Cubs, and they went and acquired Rizzo again. So needless to say, they really like this guy.
Yeah, he can hit. Yeah, he's a guy that has put Brian LaHare on the bench, a guy that's had some pretty good pop this year for the Cubs. Good time to be in the Cubs minor league system right now. Get an opportunity in the big leagues.
Yeah, there are some opportunities for sure. Rizzo certainly earned his way to the big leagues. He was named Rookie of the Month in July. Runner goes, and LUCROY allows the stolen base. Didn't want to take a strike away. DeJesus got a huge jump anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to get him, so you might as well just stay on your haunches and, you know, make the pitch look good. Yeah, LUCROY thought it was a pretty good looking pitch. A running jump for David DeJesus, and he gets in there easily.
Stolen base number 6, and a significant one. He's at third base with less than 2 outs. A lot of ways to score a run in the first inning with a runner at third and less than 2 outs. As Rizzo rifles one left field, Braun will look up. That is one hopped out of here. A ground rule double and an RBI for Anthony Rizzo, his 27th.
That's a nice looking swing right there. Well, it looked like a breaking ball from Mark Rogers. Check it out. A breaking ball that was up outer half, and Rizzo goes right with it on a 3-1 count. A lot of young hitters are sitting fastball trying to hook anything that they throw up there, but Rizzo stayed right on it and hit it right down the left field line.
So Rizzo does early damage here in our first look at him this season. There's Alfonso Soriano. A big swing and a miss. The last thing I expected to hear from Dale Swaim today, of all the questions that I had for him about the Cubs, was how great Soriano has been for this ball club this year. Dale Swaim went on for 5 minutes about Soriano and the kind of player he's been, the kind of teammate that he has been. And Swaim admitted I had no idea from the other side of the dugout how good he was, how great he was with young players. And as the Cubs have tried to develop these young players, he gave Soriano a lot of credit.
Yeah, good influence on these young kids, particularly Starlin Castro, and one of the many big surprises that Dale Swaim, some of the things that he said about his team.
And he has rewarded Soriano. You might remember, we saw Soriano a great deal last year and the previous year. He was signed to be a big bat of the Cubs lineup, but he was hitting down in the order, 6th, 7th. But Dale Swaim has put him back up in a run producer spot, and he's delivered that way. He's their top run producer, 22 homers, 75 runs batted in for Soriano. He's having a terrific year.
Yes, he is. Now, he has had a comeback, a bounce back season, but that Cubs lineup, if you go back to even last year, looking a lot different back then than it does now. A solid influence in the middle of this order. Soriano has given Dale Swaim exactly what he's asked.
Soriano has 1 year left on his very big deal with the Cubs. That was an 8-year contract, and Rogers strikes him out on a good breaking ball. And the second strikeout for Mark Rogers, both coming on breaking balls.
Check it out, the slider off the outside corner, late breaker, and Soriano just waves at it. Really a curveball that Rizzo hit down the left field line.
So 2 men are out. Rizzo is still at second, and here is Starlin Castro. And Swaim has moved him from at the top of the order, either first or second, moved him back into a run producer's role. He's hitting 5th in today's lineup. Castro, a .280 hitter, has 12 homers, 61 driven in. He was mired in a very long slump that knocked his batting average under 300. He was 0 for 19 at one point a couple of weeks ago, but since he snapped that streak in his last 12 games, he's hit .348. So he's back on a Castro bench here at the plate. He's been one of the top young hitters in the game since 2010.
Well, sky's the limit for this young man. Just a matter of him applying himself both at the plate and defensively. He's had very good numbers throughout his very short career, but very rarely, if ever, takes a walk. I mean, here's a guy with a .311 on base percentage. He's walked only 22 times this year. You can only imagine what he's going to be able to do when he learns his strike zone.
Yeah, he's only 22 years of age. There's that curveball, and Rogers for strike one. 2-1 on Starlin Castro. Led the National League in hits last year. Rogers trying to get through this first. Anthony Rizzo with an RBI double as the Cubs on top 1-0. Another one. Same pitch, same result. 2-2 on Castro. Castro reportedly is close to finalizing a big contract with the Cubs. It would be a 6-year deal. It'll take him till his 29th year of age. Cubs looking for a little financial stability with their great shortstop. Rogers strikes him out. And Rogers strikes out the side around 2 hits. A couple of doubles in the inning, but Mark Rogers has the swing and miss stuff going. He got Vitters, Soriano, and Castro to win the first. Cubs lead 1-0. A first inning run, a double, and an RBI by Anthony Rizzo, bringing in De Jesus. Now Ron Renneke putting his A lineup back out there again tonight. Had a couple of players off yesterday, Corey Hart and ARAMIS Ramirez, but they're back here tonight. Piggly Wiggly batting order. Aoki, Weeks, and Braun. You've got Ramirez, Hart, and Lucroy in the middle. Gomez, Segura, and Rogers rounded out. And that is the lineup that will face Justin Germano, a journeyman Germano, and he has found a home with the Chicago Cubs, filling in for the injured Matt Garza, among others.
Yeah, the Cubs picked him up in mid-July from the Boston Red Sox. He was actually DFA'd by the Red Sox. Cubs picked him up. He's had good numbers down in the minor leagues and a pretty good start to his season this year. 4 starts, 5 appearances, and an earned run average under 4.
A well-traveled pitcher here, Justin Germano, as he faces Nori Aoki. Germano pitched in Japan a couple of seasons ago. And of course, Nori Aoki, a star at the time in Japan. I asked Nori if he remembered Germano, and he just smiled at me. I don't think Nori is one of those guys that gives up a lot of information in that regard. Or maybe that's how he remembered. Or maybe he didn't understand my question.
Right. I think that might be more like it. Was Kosuke around?
No, he wasn't. 2 balls and a strike on Aoki.
That's what I do, you know, when I don't understand what you're saying. Just smile at you.
Smile and wave. Smile and wave. That happens a lot. Well, Aoki back in the starting lineup. A .278 hitter coming in. And he slaps that one into left field, a base hit. And Nori says, just like I remember him. Snaps an 0 for 15 slump for Nori Aoki. Defensively for the Cubs, Soriano, Brett Jackson, David DeJesus in the outfield. Josh Vitters, Starlin Castro, Darwin Barney, and Anthony Rizzo. And Wellington Castillo doing the catching. Menard's Cubs defense. Not a lot of household names in there, but a lot of prospects that the Cubs are excited about.
The Cubs are around the middle of the pack in defense this year. Up there in double plays. That's a good news, bad news story for any team. A lot of double plays. That means there's a lot of base runners. When you look at the Cubs pitching statistics, and they are down there in the league, they're third from the bottom in earned run average at 4.38. A lot of the guys that are responsible for that are no longer with the team or not pitching.
And the Cubs are without 3/5 of their starting rotation. 2 traded away. Paul Maholm to the Braves and Ryan Dempster to the Rangers. And Matt Garza is on the disabled list. Chris Bosio, another former Brewer, part of Dale Swaim's coaching staff. Bosio's the pitching coach.
Yeah. Pat Listas, the third base coach.
And it's still hard to see those guys in Cubs uniforms.
Yes, it is.
Ball and a strike on Ricky Weeks. Germano would be the anti-Mark Rogers. He does not have the eye-popping stuff that Rogers has. Germano's a guy who uses command and change of speeds.
And a very good curveball. When he has that curveball working, he can be tough.
A lot of trickery and deception.
Change up. Cut the fastball, sink it, keep it down, get a lot of ground balls.
See his major league career, 40 career starts in the big leagues. His most extensive period as a starting pitcher came with the Padres back in '07. Three balls and a strike on Ricky Weeks. Roof is all closed up tonight after a 7-minute rain delay yesterday on a fast popping thunderstorm. Taking no chances tonight. That thunderstorm activity is still out there despite the sun shining in right now. Weeks down the line, backhanded at third and bobbled. No play anywhere. Josh Vitters made a nice play and saved an extra base hit. Might have saved a run.
Yeah, if he kept it in his glove, he had a play at second base. Ricky getting a fastball middle in, hit it hard down the line. Vitters knocked it down, but that was it. Ricky hit that baseball very hard. He missed his spot with it. The pitch, it was supposed to be on the outside corner, ended up pretty much down the middle of the plate. First two hitters reaching with a base hit.
So Aoki now at second with Weeks at first for Ryan Braun. That'll officially go as an error on Ricky Weeks. That'll be an E5. No hit for Weeks.
They changed it, huh? I thought it was a hit.
So a hit and an error to start this inning. And here's Braun with 2 on, and the first pitch a little bit low. Check the Powerball home run leaderboard today. Ryan Braun with 33 home runs. The league leader in that category, Corey Hart, had a homer in the Philadelphia series, a grand slam. Now 23 home runs. The Brewers still set the pace in the National League in home runs. Well, Ryan Braun has some history against Justin Germano. One of those moments you'll never forget. Braun hit his first career major league home run against Germano back in 2007. Germano pitching for the Padres that year. There's a strike to Braun. 2-1. Video evidence of it. Ryan Braun, that was game 2 of his big league career. His first major league home run. And he was hitting third that night. His first game he hit second. Ned Yost moved him into the 3-hole immediately.
It doesn't look much different than he did back in 07, does he?
Now 3 hits that night and that home run against Germano.
Right then you knew that good things are going to happen with this kid in Milwaukee. That was one of those slow curveballs from Germano that he knocked out of there at Petco Park, which is not an easy thing to do. Of course, he hit 3 home runs there this year in a game.
Braun still has that baseball. His mom was able to broker that baseball out of the hands of a fan. That's always cool when you have a trophy like that. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Ryan Braun. Had a double yesterday. He was 1 for 4. Hit 4 home runs in 4 games in the series against the Phillies, including 2 home runs off Cliff Lee. Sharply hit right at Castro. And he'll start a 6-4-3 double play. Ricky Weeks wipes out Darwin Barney at second base, but still made a good throw. 2 outs in the inning as Aoki advances to third.
Pretty much a routine double play ball to Starlin Castro.
Here's ARAMIS Ramirez now with 2 away. Ramirez, the former Cub, was not hitting all that well the last time the Brewers faced the Cubs. He was just starting to pull out of an early season slump. And he's been hitting a lot since. Comes in with a .289 batting average. And we'll see how that day off helped ARAMIS Ramirez. Ramirez ahead in the count, 2-0. Cubs got a run in the first on an Anthony Rizzo double. He drove in David DeJesus, who doubled to start the game. And Ramirez a chance to tie it up. 2-0 on Ramirez, and he lays off. 3-0 the count.
He doesn't want to give him any fastballs, does he? I guess if any team knows ARAMIS Ramirez and his tendencies at the plate, it would be this one, wouldn't it?
Ramirez nearly a decade as a Chicago Cub, after beginning his big league career with the Pirates.
3-0 changeup. Still no fastballs.
He definitely falls under the pitching backwards category. Justin Germano. Looks like he's going back to the changeup. And Ramirez lines one to left. It will be caught. Soriano makes hit it too good. Inning, Brewers Cubs. In case you missed it last night, yesterday, some great action around the big leagues. The Cubs losing a heartbreaker to the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds got a walk-off hit from Ryan Hannigan. And then in the 19th inning, Pedro Alvarez unties it. The Pirates outlast the St. Louis Cardinals in 19. 6-3 was the final score. Wandy Rodriguez got the win for the Pirates. He was supposed to start today. Now remember, the Pirates lost a 19-inning game last year against the Braves. That kind of set them on a tailspin.
Right.
And you wonder if a 19-inning victory against the Cardinals on the road yesterday will do the opposite for them this year. That was some kind of ball game.
Yeah, not that they need anything to inspire them this year. That's a pretty good ball club. Hitting a lot of home runs. They're pitching well. What was that, a 6-hour game, wasn't it?
Yeah,
started at, what, 1:10?
That's
ended
right.
around 7.
6 hours, 7 minutes, the official game time. And you wonder, the Brewers will have the Pirates on Friday. They start a 3-game series in Pittsburgh on Friday. And you wonder how long it's going to take for the Pirates to recover from that 19-inning game.
A lot less time when you win than when you lose.
Yeah, good point.
That's the kind of thing that energizes you. You know, very quickly you win a game like that, particularly on the road.
So the Pirates are 6.5 back of the Reds to start play today. Pittsburgh is 3 back of the Braves in the wild card race. As Wellington Castillo sends one left center, and Gomez can't get there. A ground rule double for Wellington Castillo, the Cubs catcher. Well, that ball had a lot of travel to it. It looked like a playable fly ball when it left the bat.
Yeah, ball carrying pretty well. Gomez had a long way to go on that. He was shaded around toward right. A slider down. Not a bad pitch by Mark Rogers. And watch how far Gomez has to go. Just a little bit out of his reach. I think he'd probably tell you that his route was not the greatest, but not able to get there, and another double.
He's so used to seeing Gomez just run down everything. It's a little bit of a shock when he doesn't. So the third double for the Cubs. To the first 6 hitters for Mark Rogers as he faces Brett Jackson now.
I think if his angle's a little bit deeper, he's going to catch that baseball, but I think he was fooled like everybody else. I don't think Gomez thought that ball was going to carry like that, because he normally hauls those in.
Young Brett Jackson getting his chance in the big leagues, just 24 years of age. Hit his first major league home run on Saturday in Cincinnati. He has struck out a ton. In 13 games he has 47 at bats and 24 strikeouts in that span. Del Swain was saying before the game he hasn't really been a big strikeout guy in the minor leagues. He's had pretty good numbers in that regard, so he's hoping Jackson can settle in. It feels like most of his strikeouts are coming because he's being too patient at the plate. He's letting too many hittable pitches go by early. 3-0, and there's ball 4. So Rogers walks him on 4 straight, and a tough start to this second inning. Our Carsoup.com email the booth question: are pitchers like Mark Rogers auditioning for a spot next season during these starts? Kurt Waukesha wants to know.
And without a doubt, I think that every time one of these guys goes out there, everybody probably but Yovani Gallardo, if you think about it. I mean, Gallardo's a lock for the rotation for next year. And Mike Fiers, Marco Estrada, Rogers. And depending on when, you know, they shut all these guys down, then the guys that come up are probably going to be auditioning as well. Let's see Tyler Thornburg up here. Willie Peralta, perhaps. No telling what this pitching staff is going to look like next year.
Open competition. Rogers facing Darwin Barney with 2 away. Now the Brewers are talking about shutting down these pitchers. Rogers, Fiers, Estrada, hitting their innings limit, and it could be done. It's very similar to what the Brewers did with Yovani Gallardo a couple of years ago. Not in a pennant race, and the Brewers have this formula: 20 to 30% over what the pitcher did last year. We're going to have Doug Melvin here in the booth with us in the 3rd inning, so we'll be able to ask him and talk about the pitching situation. The Brewers are expecting Sean Markham back either Saturday or Sunday. Markham is pitching tonight in his 3rd rehab game with the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. And after his outing tonight, he will, barring injury or re-injury, he'll be back in the rotation.
Well, it's going to be good to have him back, given the fact that the Brewers are going to be shutting these guys down. You know, 2-3 more starts for Mark Rogers, you would think.
Well, Rogers has 7 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone. There's a strike.
Yeah, which has been unusual for him in his first 4 starts. Only 6 walks in his first 4.
A strikeout to walk ratio of 4-1 for Rogers in his first 4 games in the big leagues this year. That's very impressive. And there's ball 4. Boy, Rogers digging himself a deep hole now. Bases loaded, nobody out. You have the pitcher coming up, but Rick Kranitz quickly out of that Brewers dugout.
It's one thing to give up hits, but another thing to give up the walks. I think the fact that the Cubs have been able to get 3 doubles, you know, making Rogers feel as though he needs to be a little bit more fine on the corners, keeping the ball down, and hasn't been able to find the plate.
Quick trip to the mound for Kranitz.
Hey, September 16th, that's a Sunday against the Mets. All fans in attendance get an ARAMIS Ramirez bobblehead, courtesy of Wild Impact Marketing. Call 902-4000 or visit Brewers.com.
Well, the pitcher is coming up. The bases are loaded. Castillo, the catcher, doubled to start the inning, and then back-to-back walks. Brett Jackson and Darwin Barney. See if Rogers can find his command. Rogers has given up 3 hits and 2 walks thus far. Nobody out, second inning. And there's strike 1 to Germano. Germano is a hitter this year, 1 for 7. Cubs acquired him in a trade with the Boston Red Sox. Pitching mostly in the minor leagues with the Red Sox. By the way, the Red Sox fired their pitching coach today, Bob McClure.
Yeah, former Brewer. Good buddy of mine. Well, Brewers have the infield back. They'll take a double play. It'll trade 2 outs for a run with the pitcher up.
Rogers got himself into early trouble in his last start in Colorado. He finished with 6 innings and 5 earned runs in that game. 0-2 the count on the pitcher Germano. And he fouls that one away.
Yeah, but in that game he gave up 4 runs in the first 5 outs and then able to settle down nicely until the 6th inning where he gave up a single run. Faced the minimum or 1 over the minimum in the middle of those innings.
And he deserves a bit of a mulligan. He was pitching 2 days after the birth of his first child. Try it again, another 0-2 pitch. And there's a called strike 3. 97-mile-an-hour fastball that time. Rogers taking no chances with the pitcher at the plate.
Yeah, with some sink. That was a good pitch.
Every out has been a strikeout.
Yep, and he could use one of those pitches right now to get a double play. Of course, it's tough to double up David DeJesus. But you got to keep the fastball down to do it.
Well, you can see why the Brewers are so excited about Mark Rogers now that he's healthy. 2 shoulder surgeries on both wrists. But just the stuff is impressive. I mean, it is eye-popping. 97 with sink. He's 26 years of age, a former first-round draft pick back in 2004. DeJesus in the air, left center. Ryan Braun is under it. He'll make the catch. Everybody will tag. The throw into second base, and everybody's safe. The Cubs get another run. It's 2-0 Chicago on the second out, which is a sac fly by DeJesus.
Yeah, some aggressive base running by the Cubs. Darwin Barney able to get into second base. Another man in scoring position.
Next batter, number 5, third baseman, Josh VITTERS.
So it's second and third now with 2 away. Here's Josh VITTERS. VITTERS has committed an error in this game. Boy, there's a pretty good breaking ball right there, man. That's an 86-mile-an-hour slider. And it has as much break as a curveball, except a lot more velocity.
And a lot later than the curveball. Check it out. Good block there by LUCROY with a man at third base. Get out of this mess with only 1 run scoring. You got to feel pretty good about yourself. And don't give in. You've got a struggling hitter at the plate. You don't want to have to deal with Rizzo on deck. First base is open, but this is the guy you want.
VITTERS was a very good hitter in AAA this year, where he was promoted from in Des Moines. Hit .304 in 110 games in AAA. Hasn't hit much in the big leagues. Good block by LUCROY, and it's 2 balls and a strike on VITTERS. Vitters showed some power numbers as well in AAA this year. 17 home runs, 68 driven in, and that .304 batting average. Cubs drafted him and signed him out of the first round out of high school back in '07. 2-2. Vitters is a great example of why players should sign immediately and try to get their season started. If you're not going to play in the summer organized ball, then try to at least be available for either the fall league or the instructional league. Starts your clock, and here he is at 22 years of age in the big leagues already. 2 balls, 2 strikes with runners at second and third. And now 3-2. And Rogers has a decision to make here with Rizzo on deck.
This is the guy you want. You know, throw something over the plate, and if he hits it, tip your hat. The guy on deck is not who you want to have to deal with the bases loaded.
Vitters has seen a lot of breaking balls. And a breaking ball ripped foul. That one hung.
Just trying to cast it up there for a strike. He doesn't want to try and break one off with too much on it and risking missing the outside corner. But Vitters has chased a couple of pitches off the corner.
Another payoff pitch, and a breaking ball popped up. Steady diet of hooks by Rogers. Segura hauls it away, and Mark Rogers pitches out of a mess. Gives up just 1 run in that second inning. In the first 2 innings on Mark Rogers as we head to the bottom of the second. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, the playoff push continues as the Cardinals take on the Reds, division rivals there. Fox Saturday Baseball begins at 2:30 p.m. Central, only on Fox. Corey Hart leads off against Justin Germano. 2 runs on 3 Cubs hits. Mark Rogers able to get out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam in the second inning. Allowed just 1 run.
Yeah, well, 1 run. You can't ask for any better than that. Well done, Mark Rogers.
Corey Hart pulls 1 foul. Well, Hart had the day off yesterday. We'll see how he responds today. A rare day off for ARAMIS, Ramirez, and Corey Hart.
And 2 big bats out of the lineup for Milwaukee. And it showed, but you've got to pick your spots for those days off. Not many guys play every day.
Now Corey Hart comes in with a batting average of .267, has 23 home runs this year. And a swing and a miss. Hart strikes out on a changeup from Germano. First out of the second inning. Brewers have had their way against the Cubs here lately. Miller Park has not been friendly confines for the Chicago Cubs. The Brewers have won 12 out of 14 here. 12 of their last 14. Good pitching in some low-scoring games. And a much different roster for both of these teams than what we were expecting at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you can pretty much throw those numbers out the window in this series because the Cubs have a completely different look. And really the Brewers do too, particularly their starting pitching.
Jonathan Lucroy with one away. Lucroy at .323. And that one's ripped into left field. Soriano is back, looks up, and it is up and out. Jonathan Lucroy, a home run. Keep running, Jonathan. Lucroy with his 7th home run. And the Brewers are on the board. It's 2-1 Cubs.
Yeah, Lucroy trying to find the groove. This is the 3rd consecutive start for Jonathan. He's getting some consistent at-bats. That's a 3rd home run that's hit the top of the fence for the Brewers in this homestand. Getting some lucky bounces. Number 7 for Jonathan. The Powerball home run count for Jonathan Lucroy.
First home run since August 1st. When he homered against the Astros. I don't know if I've ever seen a homestand where 4 batted balls by the Brewers have hit the top of the wall. 3 of them went out. 1 of them came back in. I mean, you may go months without seeing a ball hit the top of the wall, but we've seen it 4 times already.
Yeah, Corey Hart, Ryan Braun, and Braun hit one into the gap in left center that stayed in the ballpark. And now Jonathan Lucroy with a home run.
Here's Gomez now, right off the end of the bat. Castro with that great arm makes the play to retire Gomez for the 2nd out. Jonathan Lucroy with a 2nd home run since returning from the disabled list. What a great catching combination the Brewers have found here. Martin Maldonado and Jonathan Lucroy, 2 26-year-olds. Lucroy has more experience. He was always ahead of Maldonado on the depth chart. And Lucroy proved his wares as a hitter in crunch time last year. Not just in the pennant race, August and September, but in the postseason as well.
Yeah. And Martin Maldonado has certainly deserved some starts because of his offense. And he always brings that good defense behind home plate. It's kind of a tough thing for Ron Renicky to find playing time for both of them. We said Lucroy is making his 3rd consecutive start. You would figure Maldonado to get a start tomorrow, but Brewers manager said whoever's swinging the bat the best, which they've both been doing a pretty good job of lately, that's the guy who's going to play. Good problem to have, I guess.
Yeah, no question. I mean, catchers, shortstops, center fielders, those are the prime positions on the diamond. And those are hard positions to find. Every team in baseball is looking for catching depth. And the Brewers very fortunate to have 2 terrific young catchers. Big breaking ball from Germano. What it reminds me of, Rock, is the Diamondbacks a few years back when they had 2 very talented catchers and they weren't sure who was going to rise up, Miguel Montero or Chris Schneider. Both at the time were thought of as top prospects, #1 catchers in the big leagues. Slow roller out in front of the plate, and Germano takes care of Segura. Inning over, but Jonathan Lucroy goes deep. right off the top of the wall. Bounces out. On Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Roof is closed on a Monday night. Ron Renicky, a few words with Eric Cooper, home plate umpire. The Brewers trail 2-1. From the manager to the general manager, Doug Melvin joins us here in the booth. Great to have you with us, Doug, and certainly a lot to talk about. Ron Renicky told us earlier today that you guys are set up for a meeting tomorrow to go over a number of topics, but the primary topic on that is the pitching and September call-ups, I guess. Anything you can add to that? What are some of the things you guys will be discussing?
Well, we'll talk about our starting pitching, and we'll talk about Peralta, Thornburg. Down in AAA, we'll talk about Sean Markham, who's pitching tonight in Appleton. And once he's done pitching, then we'll put our heads together. We've looked at how many innings they've pitched. You want to prepare your pitchers, guys like Mike Fiers, Mark Rogers. If they're with you next year, what is the workload for this year? You know, that we have a 20% increase or a 30% increase, but we sort of gauge it by how they're feeling too. Take a look at the individual, but you just want to make sure that everybody's aware of where each pitcher is, and that, because the season is long. I think the days of 300 innings from a starting pitcher is history. I think the days of 250 innings. I think the days of 225. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop there.
It's like an auctioneer.
Well, how many guys do you think are going to have 200 innings?
Because I hope, right? I know it's. I'll tell you what, it's discouraging as an industry. Mm-hmm. It really is that we have trainers. We have more trainers, more doctors, recognition of this. We have more pitchers that come up and down over the course of the year. And it's a little discouraging as an industry that we're gone this way, because the idea is to maximize players' performance and maximize their workloads. And I remember the days of Mickey Lolich, and I don't want to go back because I am older now. But the days of Mickey Lolich, he had 4 straight years of over 40 starts.
Right.
And I think that's got a lot to do with the workload of the bullpen too. You take a look at Goose Gossage. And Goose Gossage only had 2 years of 30-plus saves or more. And he's a Hall of Famer. And now we get discouraged if you don't have a closer that saves 40 games for you.
And you have bullpens that have 7, 8 guys in them. Used to be the old days. There's 5 guys in your pen, right?
Yeah. Every night. I'll let you call that play.
Well, it's over now.
Okay.
5-4-3 double play. Nicely done by Ramirez.
The twin killing, as they say. The thing is, you have to go into the game every night. The manager knows that he's got to have somebody who's pitching the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. But for sure, somebody has to pitch the 9th inning. we have no complete games this year. I think there's 5 teams, approximately no complete games. I think the most in the majors is 7 or 8. So the game's changed over the years, and you know, we're carrying 13 pitchers. I remember Earl Weaver years ago used to carry 10. So the game has changed. I don't know for the better or whatever.
Just the way it is, right?
It's the way it is, and I think I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's a combination of a number of things, but that lead to that. I think there's younger pitchers are brought to the big leagues sooner. If we were all patient enough to say, okay, 100 innings your first year and 130 the second year, 160 to 180, and then you're in the big leagues for 200 plus, then that's fine. But there's guys coming out of school and you put them in the big leagues a year and a half later and they've never pitched 150 innings. And we play baseball in September in the major leagues.
I would imagine you're glad you're not in the position that the Washington Nationals are to decide what to do with Steven Strasburg right now.
Yeah, I know that's been, you know, I don't know if controversial or it's a tough decision in some cases, but you know, we've talked about that too a little bit. If you have a quality pitcher, you want to pitch September the next year, what do? You better shut him down in April.
Right.
Well, Doug, we gotta ask you to stay here. Nice quick inning for Mark Rogers. Impressive in the third. Off, and a reminder that Wendy's Wonderful Kids is making a difference for thousands of children, one child at a time. By helping children move from foster care into adoptive families, the program has helped more than 3,000 children get adopted by their forever families. To learn more about the program or how you can help make a difference, visit DaveThomasFoundation.org. And we're here with Doug Melvin, Brewers general manager. As we move along here to the bottom of the third inning, we got stuck on pitch counts, pitching scenarios, and especially Mark Rogers. But there is a plan in place. You guys are looking at Rogers and Fires and Estrada. Will we see much of them or any of them in September in your mind?
Probably not. Mark probably got a few starts left. Fires have a limit. So that's why we have to have an alternate plan in September. The one good thing is Willie Peralta, Thornburg, two guys that are okay with their innings. And Marco Estrada is even getting to a point where we have to sit down and look at it. But we'll evaluate. We're not going to be so bullish on this so-called pitch count, but we do have to be careful. We'll look at each individual. There's other ways of doing it. You can go 6-man rotation. You can maybe skip a start. You can still pitch him in the bullpen too. We've done it with John Hellwig, who we got in the deal from the Angels. He threw 120 innings and he didn't throw. He was a bullpen reliever last year. So we've shut him down, put him in the bullpen. And I saw him 2 innings in Huntsville recently, and he pitched 2 innings the other day again. He's throwing the ball very well out of the pen. So it's a different workload. But when you're up and you're going to do that, he's got to be up and in the game. He can't be up and down, whatever. So you're just trying to manage it and make sense, because it's important, especially a guy like Mark Rogers who's come back from such adversity with his arm issues and that over the past 3 years, and he's thrown the ball very well. Gun lighting up at 96, 97, and a power breaking ball, and you know, he's a good athlete, and his walk strikeout ratio is very good. So we feel that the wait for Mark and that the patience has paid off, because sometimes guys, it just takes a little longer for some guys to come around.
Let's get your thoughts and your impressions early on with Gene Segura. Everybody wondered if he's going to be a shortstop. He looks pretty good out there at shortstop. If you were to say to somebody he hasn't been playing short that long, he'd be fooling you.
Yeah, he's made all the plays there. He's done a good job. Got great arm strength. He's got speed. He's got presence out there. He knows where he has to be. I know the coaching staff have commented on that. So he's played a lot of shortstop, and we're fortunate to be able to get a shortstop back in the deal for Zach, because shortstops are so hard to find, and that. So he's a guy looking forward to. I can't give you the answer. Is he our guy opening day next year? We'll wait till the end of the season to evaluate that. But you know, right now at the plate, maybe a little more patience. He gets a little jumpy, probably wanting to do a little bit too much. But you can see he has the tools and he has the ability to play.
Ricky Weeks into left field, slightly off the end of the bat, and that will retire the side. Great to catch up with you, Doug. Always good to get your thoughts. Fascinating topic about the pitch counts, and we appreciate your time.
And our strikeout totals. You guys talk about that.
Yeah, Doug's got a nice trivia question.
Okay,
we'll bring it to you. As we head to the top of the fourth inning, Mark Rogers back on the mound. Thanks to Doug Melvin for spending a little time with us today. Now, Doug did have a nice stat, and he wanted us to let everybody know he's been working on this. The Brewers have a chance to have the second most strikeouts as a pitching staff in the history of baseball.
Yeah. Well, they lead all of baseball in strikeouts this year. And we knew that, but he took it a step further, saying it's historic, the number of strikeouts that they've been racking up.
So that was his wow stat for the day. And he didn't have a chance to get it in.
But boom. He couldn't wait to say that. We didn't let him. I asked him about Gene Segura instead.
It's a good discussion, though. I think the pitch count, pitch limit situation is a very interesting topic in baseball these days. And, you know, here's a general manager who makes the decisions about the pitch counts, and he is troubled by the pitch counts.
Yeah.
And so that gives you an idea of the kind of information that is coming in.
And a lot of fans are, too. You know, a lot of people discussing whether pitch counts are valid and whether they mean anything. And I guess it's good for the fans to know that Doug Melvin feels the same way. He's kind of torn at the whole situation, but that's where we are in baseball these days.
Well, injuries are not down. That's one theory. And you talk to folks with the Texas Rangers, for example, and they're trying to extend their pitchers, trying to, especially in the minor leagues and the slow buildup. But he hit on a good point, I thought Doug did, about the minor league. There's such a need for pitching now. It's hard to really take the time with a guy in the minor leagues. As Rogers, another devastating breaking ball, and he picks up another strikeout as he gets Castillo. We check in with Craig Kashawn and Sophia Minard. What do you guys have tonight?
Well, social media time, and that's interesting here. Fan-wise, not as many people as you would be accustomed to in this rivalry, but one time this place was bustling.
Yeah, Craig, brewing up some rivalry talk tonight with the Cubs in town. Historically, it's been an evenly matched series, and like you said, it's easy for fans to commute back and forth. Both Brewers and Cubs fans hop on I-94 to support their teams, and you know, historically, this used to be Wrigley North, it seemed like. The Cubs fans used to dominate this place, but Brewers fans have really taken Miller Park back to set up home field advantage. Tonight, we want to ask fans, where do you rank the Brewers-Cubs rivalry among other league rivals? Hashtag rivalry. Tweet us at FS Wisconsin and BA and Rock. We'll be back in the 7th with some of the fans' comments.
All right, great to see what folks think out there. And obviously, when the teams are where they are at this moment, not in contention, neither the Brewers nor the Cubs, it takes on a little different light, and you're looking at all these young prospects. But when they've both been in contention, it has been right up there with some of the best ones. I mean, the Brewers, think back to the 08 season. The Brewers were the wild card team that year, and the Cubs were in as the division champs. And so I think Cubs, Cardinals, you think Yankees, Red Sox. Certainly some great rivalries in baseball. Giants, Dodgers. There's another swing and a miss. And Mark Rogers adding to those strikeout totals. He now has 6 in this game.
Yeah, but Sophia talking about the fact that this has been a very even series between the Brewers and the Cubs, even going all the way back to interleague play back in '97. The Cubs have the advantage 116 to 112. So only a 4-game difference between the two clubs in all those games. There's a good breaking pitch from Mark Rogers.
That's the closest proximity in the big leagues. Just 90 miles separating these two big league cities in the same division. And of course you have the we're talking about same league, same division.
Yeah, not interleague play.
Right. Always thought the Brewers-White Sox rivalry was a good one back in the old American League days, and when the Brewers went to the National League, the Cubs already had that natural rival with the Cardinals that goes way, way back to the turn of the century. But the Brewers-Cubs rivalry has been a good one, and it certainly has been a fun one to watch from our perch.
And when you talk about a rivalry, you talk about, you know, close proximity, but it goes a lot further than that. Both teams have to be doing well. It has to be, you know, well played games, you know, one hit, one run here or there. And that's kind of the way it's been with the Brewers and the Cubs throughout the times that they've been playing each other.
Fly ball to right. Nori Aoki is there. And Mark Rogers has settled in, racking up the Ks tonight. He has 6 already, including 2 in the 4th.
has had basically the same stance, same approach throughout his life, even going back to Little League. Here's a home run that he hit back in San Diego, his first ever home run off of Germano, a curveball. You can see the approach really hasn't changed over the years. There's a home run in San Diego earlier this year. And when you lay them both over on top of each other, I mean, not a whole lot different. Maybe a little bit of a higher leg kick early on. But the swing, the approach, the head down, and just the results basically the same for Ryan Braun. Not much has changed for this young man except for a lot of production and, well, perhaps a Rookie of the Year and an MVP award.
Right. That's pretty cool right there. And talking about 5 years elapsing between those home runs. Braun now in his 6th season in the major leagues. And what's interesting is if you go and look at his swing in high school, and Ryan Braun actually hit a home run in a high school game at Dodger Stadium. There are very few high school players that have ever hit one out of Dodger Stadium. There's not a lot of big league players that hit them out at Dodger Stadium, comparatively speaking. But Braun did it as a high school senior. And, they play the area code games there in Dodger Stadium. For a guy who is not all that big, he's only 6'1", goes 180 pounds. He can generate some incredible bat speed. Braun, since his major league debut, you see where he ranks since he was first called up on the 25th of May back in 07. Leads all players since that time in total bases, and he's in the top 6 in just about all of the major offensive categories, and he's just 6 home runs away from career home run number 200.
It's a lot of fun coming to the ballpark knowing that Ryan Braun's going to be in the batting order. You get to watch him hit 3-4 times, or 4 or 5 times a night. We're very fortunate here in Milwaukee to have a player that is as special as Ryan Braun, and not just at the plate. I mean, he brings it on the bases. You know, defensively, he's proved a lot out there in left field.
2-2, and Braun fouls that one away. Well, 6 more home runs would get him to 200. That would give Braun a 39 home run season. He's on a pace to hit 40 plus this year. And he is 10 stolen bases away from 30 stolen bases. He has 20 steals. The only 40 plus homer seasons by Brewers: Prince Fielder, Richie Sexson, Gorman Thomas, and Ben Oglivie. Braun's the 5th. Fielder did it twice. Sexson did it twice. Of course, Fielder has the franchise record for home runs in a season. He hit 50. A franchise known for its power hitters. Ryan Braun is emerging as one of the best ones ever as he lifts that one center field. That ball's got some carry, but Jackson able to run it down. Terrific catch. He comes with a lot of expectations as a defender in center field, and he shows some of that promise right there.
Yeah, he's got good speed. He got good closing speed on that fly ball. Ryan Braun, even when he doesn't hit him right on the sweet spot, still has the ability to almost knock it out of here to center field. Jackson able to go back right in front of the wall and haul it in, taking away an extra base hit. Wouldn't have been a home run. But the plate coverage and the extension for Ryan Braun, incredible. That was off the end of the bat.
1 gone in the inning, and here is Aramis Ramirez. Austin Brett Jackson covering some ground.
Shading a little bit toward right field. And knew exactly where he was on that wide warning track here at Miller Park.
See a lot of guys do what Jackson did, that early leap. That's because the warning track here at Miller Park is, as Rock mentioned, very wide, 2 steps wider than any other warning track in baseball. I remember Mike Cameron always talking about this track. It took him a little while to get used to, but you can take 2 more steps before you leap. Normally it's a 3-step and leap. This warning track is a 5-step and leap, or maybe it's 2 and 4, depending on where you catch it.
Whatever it is, when this ballpark first opened up, it gave a lot of players, particularly visiting players, a lot of problems. Not so much anymore. Everybody getting used to it. But Jackson, his first time here, did a nice job. That's why you have batting practice. You go out there and you shag flies and you check out that warning track. You check out what the ball does in the gaps. And the center fielder has a lot to think about out there at Miller Park. A lot of angles out there in center.
Well, this ballpark was designed to be a triples ballpark. Robin Yount had a lot to do with the configuration of the outfield fence, and especially those angled walls in center field. That's where a lot of the triples come. And you see a lot of triples on line drives down into the corner, especially the right field corner gets tucked down in there.
And that center and right field, that angle right there can be a problem for a lot of right fielders. And that's new. It didn't used to be there when the park first opened.
Well, that wall, that little area there is an addition, and that certainly allowed the home run totals to increase. Ramirez down the left field line. That will fall. A base hit. Soriano cuts it off. Ramirez into second base. And a double for Aramis Ramirez. His 40th double of the season, which leads the major leagues.
And once again, Ramirez able to hook a curveball on the outside part of the plate. And not many can do that. One of the reasons why he hits so many doubles, he likes to pull the ball down the line. Soriano having a tough time with those legs, just can't move like he used to.
Ramirez safe at second, safe and secure. New York Light. Now, Joey Votto was running away with the doubles crown in the big leagues, but he was injured. And now Ramirez has a firm grip on it. Ramirez is actually 4 doubles away from a career high. He had 44 doubles in 08 with the Cubs. Tying run at second for Hart.
A lot of hitting coaches would tell you that you should hit that ball to center field or to right center. Ramirez has the unique ability to be able to hook that baseball right down that left field line. The hands behind the barrel of the bat. Not exactly the way you want to teach it, but it works for him.
Hart a chance to drive and a run to tie it up. Each club with 3 hits now. The Cubs scored runs in each of the first 2 innings. Got an RBI double from Anthony Rizzo in the first, and then a sac fly from DeJesus in the second. Mark Rogers had the bases loaded in the second with nobody out. He got out of that inning with just 1 run. And he has locked up the Cubs ever since. It's a great example, though, of how 2 pitchers with very different abilities can still get outs in the major leagues. Off-speed pitcher Justin Germano.
I don't think Germano has hit 90 miles an hour tonight. And 2 fastballs that he's thrown to Corey Hart in this at bat, 187, 186. And he relies on command, taking a little off, put a little movement on it. Mark Rogers can be overpowered, but he still has to be able to locate.
Ramirez at second with 1 away, and Germano misses. There's his fastball at 87. That's about the speed of a Mark Rogers slider. This guy has seen a lot. He's 30 years of age, and he has been all over the globe playing baseball, including pitching in China. Swing and a miss. He strikes out hard. A changeup. And out number 2. Time now for the AT&T trivia question. Which 3 active hitters have 11 consecutive seasons of 20 home runs or more? Consistent production. 20 home runs in a season. Here's Jonathan Lucroy now with 2 away. Lucroy homered his last time up, hit the top of the wall in left field and bounced out. Number 7 for Lucroy. Tower Pizza Hut delivery of the game and put the Brewers on the board in the 2nd inning.
You see the location mistake, and Germano knew it right away. Fastball, didn't get it in, didn't get it up, and Jonathan Lucroy knocks it out of here. And with the big velocity, Mark Rogers, you can sometimes get away with a pitch like that, but when you're throwing 87, not often you're going to get away with it.
Oh, 0-2 to Lucroy. Brewers looking for a big hit with 2 outs. Lucroy has been their best hitter in spots like this. 2 outs and a runner in scoring position this year. Lucroy's had a lot of success. He's hitting over 500 in these spots. Proving that a changeup is still the best pitch in baseball. At least for an off-speed pitch. We saw Cole Hamels dominate with his changeup. Cal Kendrick threw a changeup, was very good yesterday. 8 shutout innings for Kendrick. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and Lucroy takes ball 2. Bouncing ball. Up with it, Vitters. And a low throw dug out by Rizzo. That saves a run for the Cubs.
Nice play. Wow.
Rizzo doing it all here tonight. He's already driven in a run. Now saves a run with his glove. It was a tough hop, too. Getting over.
good time for crew in the community, and we're talking about the Little Brewers. It is a statewide Little League program, about 1,500 Little Leaguers between the ages of 6 and 8 from boys and girls clubs across Wisconsin. Kathy Huss is a VP at U.S. Cellular, a corporate sponsor. Vincent Lyles, President, CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee. Kathy, how gratifying is it for your organization to help out this program?
Well, Mark, it's just been great for U.S. Cellular. This is our 5th year partnering with the Milwaukee Brewer Community Foundation, as well as Brian Braun and the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Milwaukee. U.S. Cellular is just so gratified and so delighted with all the kids that are having so much fun, or had so much fun this summer at summer camp. And about 1,400 kids played this year, and we had 21 clubs represented throughout the state of Wisconsin. And as I said, it was just great to see their smiling faces. It was great to see a couple of dozen kids we had here tonight representing the clubs and their smiling faces, and we know they had just a terrific time.
Great program. Vincent, what impact does Little Brewers have on your organization?
Oh, we're thrilled that U.S. Cellular and the Milwaukee Brewers have supported us in this program for the last 20 years, and it really has an impact for our kids, giving them a chance to play America's game and to get a chance to compete with one another, get to be friends, and lifelong relationships are built.
Guys, congratulations. Thanks for talking with us. Rock and BA, some Little Brewers could be future big brewers. Who knows?
Yeah, it's a great program, and they get a chance to rub elbows with some of the big leaguers, including Ryan Braun. That was a nice scene before the ball game today. Yeah, we are certainly proud to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, and especially the Milwaukee chapter.
And you talk to kids and parents around Milwaukee, they say what a thrill it is for those kids to play at Hellfair Field, let alone come down to Miller Park and hit the ball around and have a good time. It's a good opportunity.
Meanwhile, Mark Rogers continues his strikeout binge here tonight. He has 7 as we play in the 5th inning. Back to the top of the order, David DeJesus, who has doubled, stole a base, scored a run, and had a sac fly and an RBI in the 2nd. Two to 1 Cubs. The only run the Brewers have scored tonight was a home run by LUCROY. Twice stranding runners in scoring position the Brewers have tonight. We had Doug Melvin on earlier tonight, and they're talking about Mark Rogers' future. Said he will not pitch in September. His starts are running out before he hits his innings limit that the Brewers have established for him. Could be his last start today, although that's probably unlikely. I mean, there is, I guess, what they call an eye test that is involved. I mean, you watch Rogers pitch. He looks strong, and he's looked that way in his 4 previous big league starts.
Yeah, to get a sense for what he looks like out on the mound, they're not going to have an eye chart in front of him tomorrow.
That's a big E.
Right.
DeJesus on the ground. Nice easy hop for Corey Hart. And there is the 2nd out.
Hey, tonight's time of the game winner is Jammers Bar in Wisconsin Rapids. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. I can hear him cheering at Jammers right now.
You know it. Two outs. Here is Josh Vitters. 0 for 2 at the plate. He's off to a rough start at the plate as a big leaguer. Anytime an organization brings up a young player, and there's a lot of clamoring to see those prospects, especially when your team is not in a pennant race, but you always run the risk of losing a player or having a player lose his confidence briefly, and that's why you have to know the player. I think maybe one of the great examples is Rick Ankiel, brought up at such a young age as a pitcher, remember.
You got to be careful. If they don't have success, sometimes they feel as though throughout their minor league career they just don't belong in the big leagues.
Ankiel came up and was great, and then started to struggle, and then those struggles carried over into the postseason, and he never did get it back as a pitcher.
Right.
And you're talking about a left-hander that threw 95 miles an hour when he came up. So there's always that risk involved. That's why when you ask somebody in baseball personnel about a young player, for example, a guy like Gene Segura. Do you think he's ready for the big leagues? The question comes often, but the answers usually go to not the player's tools or skills, but his makeup. Does he have enough self-confidence to handle the adjustment? And there's always, for every player, a major adjustment when you're called up to the big leagues at one time or another.
And particularly when you haven't been at a position very long. And not only is he trying to battle his way through offensively up at the plate, first time in the big leagues, but trying to play a new position at the big league level. That's a double adjustment for him. Doesn't have that comfort level to fall back on, defensively.
Full count, 2 outs. Josh Vitters at the plate, and Rogers deals. That one's hit well. One too many breaking balls to Vitters, and he sends one into the Lowe's level. Vitters with his first major league home run, and it gives the Cubs a 3-1 lead.
No, he ran into one that time, hitting below 100, and that slider stayed right down the middle of the plate, and Vitters able to knock it on out of here. It doesn't matter how hard you're throwing, you hang breaking balls in that direction or in that location, even to a hitter that hasn't had a whole lot of success. That's what happens.
Anthony Rizzo now. One at bat leads to the next, and you might remember with Vitters at the plate and 2 on in the second inning, Mark Rogers threw him a steady diet of breaking balls, and he ended up getting ahead in the count. He ended up getting him to pop up to end it as Rizzo goes to the opposite field, and you can just tell this guy's a hitter. What a swing. 2 hits tonight and a walk.
Yeah, both hits coming to left field. Double down the line and a base hit right over Segura's head. When you see a big guy like that able to hit the ball with authority to the opposite field, he just got called up. That tells you something. Got a lot of confidence and waits on the ball well.
Cubs are thinking he is an impact bat, and he's proved it this year. Now Soriano with 2 away. There goes Rizzo. He'll steal second base. Rogers paying no attention to the big slugger, and an easy stolen base. His second steal in the big leagues.
The Cubs feel as though they can run on Mark Rogers, and not even a throw, ball in the dirt.
Soriano, great play by Ramirez, and he retires Soriano to end the inning. Outstanding over at third base. Cubs get a run though. They lead 3-1.
3-1 Cubs bottom 5. Carlos Gomez leading off the 5th for the Brewers, and Carlos fired up to get to work today. Around 3 o'clock, he ran sprints in the outfield with Marco Estrada. Then Carlos took early batting practice and hit a ball off the bottom of Bernie Brewer's slide in left field. You talk about a bomb. Carlos hoping to take that stroke into the game tonight, guys.
And he's certainly putting that power-speed combination together maybe better than he ever has in his career. He's starting to mature a little bit as a player. He was a player that has always been thought of as having great tools, maybe not the best baseball instincts. But he does have that bunt threat, and he's tried twice in this at-bat, and he can hit him a long way.
A little more patience at the plate. I think he could become a pretty good offensive weapon, particularly with his speed. Walk a little bit more.
Well, Dale Swaim was the first guy as the Brewers hitting coach at the time that decided to stop having Carlos Gomez be a speed player, meaning stop trying to hit the ball on the ground, shorten up his swing, which was what he was always taught through his days with the New York Mets as one of their top prospects, and then eventually with the Minnesota Twins. Swaim said he's not that kind of personality. First of all, he's high energy, always in 5th gear. Let him swing that way.
No, and if it was working, it would be a different situation.
Right.
But it wasn't working. It wasn't, being patient at the plate and slapping at the baseball. So, Dale decided to say, hey, just let him do what he wants, see what happens. It's his career.
Gomez breaks his bat, will dump one into left field, a base hit.
It's not Bernie's chalet, but it's a base hit.
Right. Not quite as far, but he'll take it. And the hard work pays off. Back to our AT&T trivia question. Which 3 active hitters have 11 consecutive seasons of 20 or more home runs? And that would be Alfonso Soriano, Big Papi, David Ortiz, and of course Albert Pujols is on that list. Soriano starting to amass some pretty significant numbers at this point. Soriano in 14 years has over 350 homers, 1,000 RBIs, over 250 stolen bases. There goes Gomez. Segura swings, bounces one to short. And there is the first out. That's too bad. Segura swinging away. Looked like Gomez had that base stolen easily.
And out of the corner of your eye, you can tell if a guy has a good jump. I mean, you can tell early enough, and you can decide to let one go. And had he done that, he would have been batting with Gomez in scoring position right now.
Segura just still adding layers to his game, and obviously a little more patience at the plate will come with experience. Mark Rogers will be lifted after 5 innings tonight, 3 runs allowed. As you see Cameron Lowe loosening. Travis Ishikawa will pinch hit. Rogers goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, all earned with 7 strikeouts. He walked 3 tonight.
And another slow start once again for Mark Rogers, giving up a couple of runs and then being able to settle down and before giving up that home run in the 5th.
All the pieces are there though for Rogers. He makes mistakes still. He's got very little experience in the big leagues, but boy, he has great stuff. Well, we'll see if Ishikawa can do some damage here against Justin Germano. Ishikawa pinch hitting. Got the start at first base yesterday. Was 1 for 3 in yesterday's game. As a pinch hitter, Ishikawa is 7 for 32. Has 5 RBIs. The Speedy Gomez at second.
Pretty good throwing arm out in right field. Not sure about the throwing arm out in center. We haven't seen him before. David DeJesus, a pretty good arm into home plate. Soriano not so much.
Ishikawa into right field, a base hit, and here comes Gomez. He'll try it. The throw to the plate. Gomez slides. Safe. The ball gets away and will roll into the Brewers dugout.
That's a heck of a throw out there.
Ishikawa to third. 2 bases on the throwing error as the ball got loose from Castillo, and Ishikawa makes it a 1-run game and advances to third base.
Yep, 1 from the mound, 2 from the field, and Gomez actually kicked that ball into the Brewers dugout. Incidental as he slid into home plate, but look at this throw by De Jesus. That's a heck of a throw right there. I mean, that's a tough error for the right fielder because Wellington Castillo should have caught it. Wouldn't have had him, but watch Gomez. He kicks it into the dugout, and because Ishikawa was already at first, he's able to go to third.
Yeah, that could be an error on the catcher. And it will be. That'll be a single, an RBI, and an E2.
Yeah, because that was a good throw. A real good throw.
Infield in for the Cubs. And Nori Aoki with 1 away. That's a big error. And the fact that Ishikawa ends up at third base opens up some more scoring opportunities for the Brewers. Nori Aoki with Ishikawa at third. 3-2 Cubs. Aoki, that's plenty deep. That ball's hit, and it'll be run down by Jackson. Ishikawa will score, and we are tied at 3.
Oh, that ball carried, huh? And Nori Aoki taking one to the opposite field in the left center, and really got that one over the head of Brett Jackson. Aoki showing some pretty good opposite field power. They're playing him shallow. He had a long way to go and at good speed, able to run it down. But we're tied.
Brett Jackson's played a nice center field tonight. Our first look at him. The error costly as Ishikawa scores the 3rd run. That takes Rogers off the hook. Nori Aoki with his 30th run batted in of the year. And now here is Ricky Weeks. Mark Rogers, in 3 of his first 4 starts, left the game with the lead. And the Brewers would end up losing those leads as Weeks pounds one into left field. A base hit. A 2-out single for Ricky Weeks, and that'll bring up Ryan Braun.
Man, Germano is starting to leave the pitches up in the strike zone a little bit right now. Brewers getting some pretty good hacks. And now the 3rd time through the batting order. 2nd time through is pretty good for the Brewers. You're throwing about 86, 87 with your fastball and change ups at 81, and you keep them down around the knees, you can do it. But you start getting them up in the zone, look out.
Well, now the Brewers send up their big bat, Ryan Braun. That would be poetic justice for Mark Rogers, as well as he's pitched to not have any wins to show for it. If the Brewers take the lead here and the bullpen can take it the rest of the way, he'll get his first win.
Well, poetic justice is he just spit the hook. He left with down 3-1.
Might as well get greedy now. Rogers wants to see Braun do what he does best. Hit the ball out of the ballpark. His first major league home run came against Germano. And he's hit 193 of them since. All tied at 3 in the 5th. 2 runs in for the Brewers. Hits one sharply to right. Weeks on his way to third. Ryan Braun with a 2-out hit. The third hit, make it the fourth hit of the inning. Back-to-back singles with 2 away, and now first and third for Ramirez.
That's why I don't understand why teams shade the second baseman so far up the middle. I mean, how many times have you seen Ryan Braun get a base hit on the ball just like this? Able to get on top of that pitch. That's what makes him so unique. A lot of guys just lift that ball in the air, but he hits a ground ball to second. And teams continue to shade him up the middle, and he'll take the base hits.
First hit of the night for Braun. And here is Ramirez. Ramirez had a runner at second in the first inning. Actually a runner at third in the first inning, and he hit a line drive bullet right to Soriano. Had a double his last time up. Hit one right off the end of the bat down the left field line. He is on a pace to set a franchise record for doubles in a season, set by Lyle Overbay. 53 doubles is the record. Ramirez now at 40. Pitch out. Dale Swaim thinking Braun was going to be on the move there.
Yeah, he's itching to go. You know he is. He's 10 stolen bases away from 30.
Braun with 20 steals. 6 times he's been caught. Two balls and a strike on Ramirez. Bellevue in the bullpen.
Doesn't look like he wants much to do with ARAMIS Ramirez here.
The count goes 3-1. Corey Hart is on deck.
Corey's had a tough time with Germano tonight. ARAMIS Ramirez has swung the bat pretty well. A line out and a double to left.
All tied at 3. Will Ramirez get a pitch to hit? High and tight.
Change up.
Bases loaded. All of this with 2 outs.
Well, they threw a strike first pitch to Ramirez in this at bat. And then 4 straight pitches out of the strike zone. After the strike in the corner, they pitched out thinking Braun was going to run. And then a fastball down and away. And then back-to-back changeups. And the bases are loaded.
Chris Bosio, Cubs pitching coach, a visit with Germano. You see the Brewers with the bases loaded. Weeks singled with 2 outs after Aoki drove in the tying run with a sacrifice fly. Travis Ishikawa had an RBI single to bring the Brewers within a run. 4 hits in the inning. Now a walk. And Corey Hart, who has already hit 1 grand slam on this homestand, has the bases loaded here in the 5th. 2 outs. And a hanging breaking ball in there for a strike.
That's a curveball that time. Hadn't thrown too many of those.
Germano's been tough on Hart tonight. Thrown him a lot of changeups. Hart has chased curveballs, changeups. Haven't seen a whole lot of fastballs. 2 strikeouts for Germano against Corey Hart. He has 3 in the game. Everybody ready to run. The Brewers all tied up. Here's the 1-1, and that one missed.
And Corey having a tough time staying back on that pitch. He jumped at it, but took it off the outside corner.
Biggest threat the Brewers have been able to muster here tonight. 2 runs are in. And Hart, little flare, right center, down, base hit. Weeks is in. Here comes Braun. He'll score. Corey Hart with a 2-out, 2 RBI single. And the Brewers take the lead 5-3.
As we were talking about, pitches starting to stay up in the strike zone, and that time Corey doing a nice job waiting back and just punching it into right field. Early in the game, that pitch was down in the zone, down around the shoe tops, and Corey was swinging and missing. Not this time. Well, he took the first curveball, was a strike. And then back-to-back pitches off the plate. This is what set up the at-bat for Corey. He took that pitch off the corner, made it a 2-1 count, and then a fastball away, and just drove it right off the end of the bat into right field. Taking that curveball 1-1 and bringing the count to 2-1. With the bases loaded, that's what got Corey Hart that fastball.
Pitching change here. Mark Rogers now a chance to win this game. And the left-hander coming in 5-3. The Brewers have taken the lead. 4 runs are in. Still at it in the 5th.
Two-run lead, a 5-3 lead. For Monday home games, fans can purchase Terrace Reserve seats for just $8. That's courtesy of Miller High Life. Visit Brewers.com/High Life. Offer excludes marquee games.
It's time now to take a look at our Jimmy John's high-speed delivery. Justin Germano topping out at 88 miles an hour. And Mark Rogers, his best fastball, 97 today. Suddenly Rogers in a position to win this game as the Brewers have taken the lead. He left down 3-1. And now the Brewers up 5-3, still at it here in the bottom of the 5th as Jeff Beliveau comes in to pitch for the Cubs.
And he got called up prior to the game on July 22nd. Made his major league debut. And he's thrown 8 scoreless innings in his last 7 appearances.
Beliveau up from AAA Iowa. He's just 25 years of age. And his first pitch to Jonathan Lucroy is in there. Check that ball low. Beliveau is pitching out of the bullpen in Iowa. .405 ERA. A ton of strikeouts, though. 47 strikeouts in 40 innings.
You got Beliveau and James Russell, the two left-handers down in that bullpen. Comes off Sean Marshall in the offseason.
Now pitching with the Reds. In a setup role with Cincinnati, he and Jonathan Broxton. 2 on, 2 out for Lucroy. Justin Germano 4 2/3 tonight, 8 hits allowed, and at this point 5 runs, 4 earned. What an inning for the Brewers. 4 runs are in. 5 hits in this inning, 3 of them coming with 2 outs. With 2 outs, the Brewers have 3 hits and a walk. It's Ramirez at second. Corey Hart at first. A lot of walks, a lot of strikeouts for Jeff Beliveau.
He had a good arm, kind of a tough delivery to pick up for a left-handed batter. It reminds you a little bit of the delivery of Billy Wagner. Remember Billy Wagner? But it doesn't throw nearly as hard as Wagner.
2-2 to Lucroy. And that one's in the air, left center field. That is way back. And there it goes! Jonathan Lucroy. A 3-run home run, his second homer of the game. And the Brewers go up 8-3. What an inning for Milwaukee. 7 runs are in. Lucroy, a 3-run home run, his second career multi-homer game. Homered in the second inning, a solo shot that hit the top of the wall. There was no doubt about this one from Lucroy. And that's the kind of game he's been looking for offensively since he returned from the disabled list.
4 RBIs, a couple of home runs. Lucroy taking a 2-2 fastball right down the middle, knocking it way out of here to left. Fastball for Beliveau, straight as a string.
Gomez into deep left center. That one's going to go. A frozen rope by Carlos Gomez. And the Brewers go back to back in the 5th inning. Number 12 for Gomez.
Now they drop a snowman on the Cubs here in the 5th inning. Wow. That's a season high in runs for Milwaukee in an inning. Previous high was 6. Wow, that was a slider that time, and Gomez, a frozen rope line drive out of here. Wow.
His second hit of the inning, Carlos Gomez. He started this 5th inning with a single. 9-3 Milwaukee. And here's Gene Segura now.
Some guys get all the runs.
Mark Rogers says thank you very much. He left this game. It was 3-1 Cubs. It is now 9-3. Lucroy and Gomez go back to back. Segura bounces one to third. Vitters. Low throw and dug out again by Rizzo. He saved him a couple of errors. What an inning. The biggest inning of the season in support of Mark Rogers.
Game brought to you by GMC. An 8-run fifth inning for Milwaukee, a season high. Their previous season high was at Houston. A 6-run inning. Home runs by Jonathan Lucroy and Carlos Gomez. The Brewers with 8 runs on 7 hits. And now lead the Chicago Cubs 9-3. High fives all around in that Brewers dugout.
Well, for Lucroy, his 8th home run of the year, number 7 and number 8 tonight. Gomez, his 12th of the season. 3 home runs for the Brewers tonight. Cubs had a home run from Josh Vitters in the 5th inning. Most runs scored in an inning this year, 8. And now it's a whole new ball game. 9-3. Cameron Lowe is on to work.
And Cameron Lowe's been throwing the baseball very well. Got that earned run average down to 363. 52nd appearance for Cameron. And Lowe last pitched 2 scoreless innings on Saturday against the Phillies.
Lowe facing Starlin Castro to start the 6th inning. Castro fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cameron Lowe is the connector between Justin Germano and Ryan Braun in a very unusual way. So you can imagine a scene, right, Rock, where Justin Germano and Ryan Braun are having a conversation, and they say, "Yeah, have you ever played with Cameron Lowe? You ever been on the same team?" They both would say yes. Ryan Braun played high school ball with Cameron Lowe, which is unusual enough that they would emerge on the same team in the major leagues. There's Lowe at 6'8", pulls that one down for the first out. Well, Packers quarterback Jared Bush says it's his time to step up and take on the starting role. Paul Emick has a story on the state of the Packers secondary at FoxSportsWisconsin.com.
And now where does Germano fit in?
So I'm glad you asked me that, Rock.
Because it's only half the story.
Because Cameron Lowe and Justin Germano were on the same team in Japan, Fukuoka, in 2008. I mean, imagine that.
Yeah.
And they're in the same ballpark tonight.
Small world, isn't it?
What's more rare, you think, that they would be teammates in Japan and play in the same game in the big leagues, or teammates in high school?
And both of them pretty rare. But I'd have to go with Japan.
That's kind of a random thing to be in Japan.
So's my answer.
Did anybody on your high school team even play college ball?
No.
You were the only one.
That was it. I get what you're saying.
I just find it fascinating.
But nobody on my high school team played together in Japan either.
See? That would be something. You never played in Japan.
No.
They don't really ask a lot of
catchers
to go to Japan.
Hardly ever, if ever.
I can't think of any.
That's one position where you need to communicate very well.
Cameron Lowe credits his days in Japan, and he wasn't even on the major league roster. Neither was Germano at the beginning of that season in 08. But those two actually went to the minor leagues in Japan. And he credits those days, those long days. They don't play many games in the minor leagues. It's a lot of practice time. But in order to survive, because of the amount of throwing you have to do as a pitcher in Japan, in order to survive, you can't go out there and throw your hardest all the time. You'll never last. So Lowe developed the sinker ball that has resurrected his career as a big leaguer because of that. When he came up with the Rangers, he was a power pitcher, a strikeout pitcher. And realized at 6'8" he has the ability to use the sinker, and has that great arc on the baseball as it is the plane that comes down. So that's where he developed it, and it's bought him some extra years in the big leagues.
And when he's able to keep those fingers right on top of the baseball, that's when he gets that good downward tilt. Once in a while his arm will drop, his fingers get on the side and it flattens out.
There's a strike call. That was a breaking ball from Lowe. 2 outs.
Well, pounding the zone with a lot of fastballs, then you drop that breaking ball on you right on the inside corner, kind of a backup slider, curveball, and catches Wellington Castro looking. And groups can save over 80% off select games. Call Group Sales at 902 GRPS to catch a game from one of our all-inclusive areas, plan the perfect tailgate, and more.
2 outs. Here is Brett Jackson. He's made some nice catches in center field. He's shown a lot of speed in this game. Highly touted young prospect in the Cubs system. 24 years of age. Jackson has walked and struck out. Jackson, a straight left-handed hitter, playing in his 14th game in the big leagues.
They had 3 left-handed hitters in the lineup for the Cubs, and they have 4 on the bench. They have a number of lefties available on this roster. The only right-handed hitter available to Dale Swaim late in the game is Joe Mather, a right-hander, and that's it.
In the air to right, little lazy fly ball to Aoki. And a 1-2-3 inning for Cameron Lowe. Wisconsin is presented by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. And by the new Miller Lite Punch Top Can. It's Miller time. Time now for our AT&T U-verse reverse replay. Brewers coming up with a big inning. Gomez started it with a single. Travis Ishikawa pinch hit RBI. Then Aoki tied the game with a sac fly. 2-out damage done. Weeks, Braun, Ramirez all reaching. And then Corey Harden had the big hit, followed by LUCROY and Gomez with back-to-back home runs. And when it was all said and done, the Brewers scoring 8 runs in the bottom of the 5th. Season high for runs in an inning. A couple of changes for Dale Swaim. Joe Mather will take over in right field. And that moves David DeJesus to center field. Jackson is out of the game. And the new pitcher, Lindy Castillo.
Castillo made his major league debut this year, April 9th against the Brewers, and before this year had not pitched any higher than single A. So he made the jump from A ball to the big leagues. In his 9th appearance, he spent a lot of time on the disabled list this year because of a groin injury. And now you're up to speed on Lindy Castillo.
Excellent analysis there. Nigel Morgan will pinch hit. Morgan hitting for Cameron Lowe. Terrific inning by Lowe. 1-2-3 with a strikeout in the 6th.
He's putting together a good stretch of games for Milwaukee out of that bullpen.
Morgan retired on a 4-3 ground out. Well, the bullpen's been pretty good lately, and you'd hope they were going to come around. They've been an embattled bunch this season, but starting to put some pieces together, specifically Francisco Rodriguez. He has really pitched well here in this last stretch of games.
And with that scoreless inning for Lowe now, his last 18 appearances, he's given up only 4 earned runs, and he has 4 consecutive scoreless outings. Things starting to come together for Cameron Lowe.
There's Nori Aoki now with 1 away. Well, the Brewers started play today 12 games under 500. And a stated goal to try to finish strong this year, try to get it back to 500 and have something to build on for next year. One year does lead to the next, and we saw what has happened with the Los Angeles Dodgers. They were under 500, had a strong finish, actually finished over 500. Just quite an accomplishment for the Dodgers last season. It carried over, gave them a little momentum into spring training, and now they are in the heat of a pennant race in the National League West. The Dodgers have a half-game lead over the Giants starting play today. Aoki bounces one through, a base hit. And Nori Aoki with his second hit.
And the Brewers' next home series will feature the Pittsburgh Pirates visiting for a weekend series at Miller Park. Tickets are going fast. Call 414-902-4000 or visit Brewers.com. Well, maybe by the time the Pirates get to Miller Park, they'll be all rested up from that 19-inning game.
A 19-inning win last night against the Cardinals. We'll keep an eye on the Pirates tonight. They're in San Diego. Kevin Correa starting for Pittsburgh. The Padres have scored 2 in the first inning off Correa and the Pirates. And you know Clint Hurdle saying, whatever happens here, do not make it a short start. Kevin Correa. Edinson Volquez for the Padres tonight. 2-0 San Diego in the second inning. Ball and a strike on Ricky Weeks. Weeks had a key hit last inning. 2 outs, bases empty. In a tie game, Weeks singled to extend the inning. And then the floodgates opened up for the Brewers. Brewers would go on to score 6 runs with 2 outs in the 5th, part of an 8-run inning. Jonathan Lucroy with 2 homers tonight. By the way, Jonathan Lucroy the 15th time a catcher has had a multi-home run game in franchise history. Guess who has had the most multi-home run games by a Brewer catcher?
David Nilsson.
Nope. Guess again, Rock.
I had a few. I'm not sure how many.
You had 4 multi-home run games.
Oh, it was 4?
And no catcher in the history of Brewers baseball has had more.
Wow.
Dave Nilsson had 3. LUCROY now has 2. Well done, Rock. See?
Nice.
You're on top of the leaderboard. We don't always make fun of you.
And I got that going for me. And that's nice.
Yeah. That is nice. How to win you lunch tomorrow?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to guess that. Thought maybe Simba might have had that. Well, he was only here for a short period of time.
Yeah. I don't even think he's on the list.
No.
A number of catchers have had 1 multi-home run game. But The Rock 4 times in his career.
Wow.
So now I understand, you know, one of your favorite lines when a guy gets on a hot streak, like a home run streak, you say, hey, they come in bunches.
They come in bunches, and bunches for me was 2.
Full count, 2 weeks. 1 gone in the inning. Mather makes the play. Aoki retreats, and Ricky is retired. So 2 gone, and it'll be Ryan Braun. Good day's work for Cameron Lowe. Brewers are looking ahead to an off day on Thursday, and then 20 consecutive days playing baseball. So that'll really challenge that bullpen. The fortunate thing is the Brewers will eventually, during that streak of 20 in a row, they'll be into September call-up time. They'll be able to add to their roster. Ryan Braun with 2 away. Nothing more frustrating for a team in contention to face a team that's out of contention in September.
Nothing to lose.
You don't know, and the preparation is endless because you know you're going to see players you've never seen before. You're having to rely on minor league scouting reports. Doug Melvin, Brewers general manager, has always been in favor of some kind of roster limit, like they do in hockey in the playoffs, or you know, you can have as many guys as you want, but only a certain amount of players can be eligible for the game. Right now, you can have up to 40 players eligible for a game in September.
Yeah.
And where it really shows up is in extra inning games. You get a game like yesterday between the Cardinals and the Pirates, a 19-inning game.
You don't have to use tomorrow's starting pitcher.
It changes things.
Yeah. Changes the way you manage the game.
There's always that notion of protecting the field when you are playing under those circumstances. I mean, managers try to put the best lineups out there, but there's also the notion that you're trying to protect your organization. And there are a lot of decisions to be made in September. Ryan Braun slaps one through. Another hit for Braun, his second. Aoki all the way to third. Ryan Braun now 2 for 4. And that batting average is on the rise, hitting .307 now.
Hey, remember that bad stretch that Ryan went through, about 10 days, and got the day off. took a little bit of early batting practice. He's back to the old Ryan Braun. Didn't take long.
He's had a huge homestand, Braun. He's hit 4 home runs in 5 games played. Hit 4 home runs in the first 3 games of this homestand, as a matter of fact. Now 9 hits in 19 at-bats.
Batting average back up to 307.
Aramis Ramirez at the plate, presented by Wendy's. 2 outs, first and third. Castillo misses away. Ramirez with a double and a walk tonight. He's 1 for 2. The Phillies beat the Reds tonight. Phillies have won 3 in a row. They won the final 2 games of this series. Roy Halladay beat Mike Leake tonight. 3 home runs from the Phillies. Howard, Mayberry, and Kratz. In the air. Second baseman Darwin Barney wants it, and Ramirez is retired. 9-3 Brewers. To the 7th we go at Miller Park. Brought to you by Toyota. Mark Rogers started tonight. So-so tonight. He goes 5 innings. He did pick up 7 strikeouts, but allowed 3 runs. He left down 3-1. Jonathan LUCROY had a home run in the 2nd inning. A harbinger of things to come. The Brewers string together 8 runs in the 5th. And it was culminated on back-to-back home runs by Jonathan LUCROY, who hit his 2nd of the game, followed by Carlos Gomez. And in all, the Brewers brought 11 batters to the plate in the 5th inning. 7 hits, a walk, 8 runs, the largest inning of the season.
A harbinger. A harbinger.
It's like looking forward, foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Something that would come later.
Just dropping all these big words up here.
Mike McClendon in the pitch for the Brewers. That one's hit well left field. Darwin Barney off the base of the wall and into second base with a double, a leadoff double against McClendon. Well, our minor league report tonight has to do with a familiar name, Sean Markham. Check out this outing. Just 71 pitches to go 6 innings. Actually had a 4-pitch inning in that game, all of them for strikes. Gave up just 1 run.
I think he's ready.
Yeah, Markham making his 3rd rehab start. And he will next appear in the big leagues either Saturday or Sunday. That answer will come tomorrow, according to General Manager Doug Melvin. He and Ron Renicky and the baseball operations staff will map out the plan, not only for the pitching the rest of the way, but the September call-ups as well. Joe Mather at the plate, his first at bat. Came in on the double switch last inning. Well, there's been some talk the Brewers could go to a 6-man rotation. Markham could just take the spot vacated by Mark Rogers if Rogers is shut down for the rest of the year. Hopefully we'll have those answers tomorrow.
Right. Well, the fact that it seems as though Sean Markham pitched on the same day that Mark Rogers pitched today, I guess maybe a foreshadowing of things to come. No? Does that work?
That's perfect. Well done. Gomez makes the catch. Mather is going to tag, or rather Barney's going to tag. Mather flies out for the first out.
Hey, join us for a special broadcast on August 31st as we bring you coverage of the statue dedication for Bob Uecker outside of Miller Park. Join us for what promises to be a special event. Bob Uecker, a sports treasure, airs Friday, August 31st, starting at 1:30.
Yep.
A Milwaukee sports treasure.
Preparations being made out there. If you're going to have anybody dig a ditch for you, you hope it's for a statue.
Yeah, above the ground.
As McClendon is out, and Renicky will go to Manny Parra.
Listen to these amazing people.
Pitching change here. Ron Renicky giving Mike McClendon just 2 batters, and he'll face, or have Manny Parra come on to face David DeJesus, a left-handed hitter. You got Josh Vitters as well.
Yeah, 2 of the next 3 hitters left-handed. Ron Renicky, he knows how easily leads can evaporate. It's been one of those seasons, so he's bringing in Manny Parra for a couple of lefties. 48th appearance for Parra. Manny Parra last pitched on Thursday against Philadelphia. A third of an inning gave him a couple of hits and a strikeout.
Renicky giving Parra a look. We've seen him on occasion this year as that matchup left-hander, and I think Renicky, as far as Manny Parra's future, he certainly has that strikeout stuff. And going to take a look at him with a runner at third base with left-handers coming up. So DeJesus, who has a hit tonight, he scored a run. He is 1 for 2. Got a runner at third with 1 out. Brewers lead 9-3 on 12 hits. They've out hit the Cubs 12-6. There's a bouncer. This will get a run home. Hart will take it to the bag. And DeJesus with another RBI on an out. It's his second RBI of the game.
Yeah, Brewers would take that any day. Trade outs for a run any day in that situation. Good pitch by Manny. 93 with a fastball and an easy out. And DeJesus rolled over on it. All about throwing strikes, getting ahead early in the count for Manny Parra with a good quality fastball. So he's able to go to that split. When he gets behind, that's when he gets in big trouble, more than any other pitcher for the Brewers.
Vitters swinging away on the first pitch. Hit his first big league home run in the 5th inning. And 2 the count.
Fastball for a strike, then he goes back to the split.
And even if you tell yourself a split finger's coming, it's so hard to lay off.
It's hard to pick up. You don't know it's a split until right at the last second.
0-2 the count. Able to lay off that one. Got him. Parra goes back to the splitter. He strikes out Vitters. And the inning is over. The Cubs get a run. It's 9-4. Brew Crew stretch time at Miller Park.
We go. Brewers a nice lead in time to pay off social media tonight. Talking about the rivalry, so many experiences over the years. How did they stack up with the fans?
Greg, fans showing a lot of enthusiasm on Twitter tonight for this Brewers Cub rivalry. We'll jump right into it. Mitch said it's not quite the Packers-Bears, but it has to be one of the top rivalries in the NL Central, along with Cubs versus Cardinals and the Reds. Aaron tweeted us and said, as a lifelong Brewers fan, there's nothing nothing better than the I-94 rivalry. And Odalise said, growing up, the Brewers and Cubs was the first rivalry I really followed. It's still going strong. And BA and Rock, it's not a full house tonight, but definitely both groups of fans showing a lot of support. Brewers fans especially in that big 5th inning.
No question, and a crowd of just under 30,000 on a Monday night. Well, Cubs fans call it Wrigley North. Brewers fans call Wrigley Field Miller Park South. That's been the fun part of this rivalry over the last few years, to see the fans travel. And always at Wrigley Field, the Brewers kind of take over some of the rooftops as well. Corey Hart, bouncing ball, nice play by Barney on a hot one from Hart. One away. Hart had a big hit, had a 2 RBI single in the 5th, part of that 8-run inning.
It's the kind of hit that'll get you going again. You know, that base hit that he got with the bases loaded and a fastball away. And he took that same approach into that at bat right there and hit that one hard on a couple of hops to Barney.
LUCROY has had a big night. 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in. A 3-run home run in that 8-run 5th. Second inning of work for Lendy Castillo. Justin Germano started 4 2/3 innings and giving up 7 runs. The count in his favor. LUCROY's been saying the timing is not quite there yet. After 2 months on the disabled list, he's been searching for it. And I think he found it here tonight. There's ball 4, and there's a good example of how LUCROY's seeing the baseball here recently. So that's where your hot streaks come in, when you start to see the ball better. LUCROY with home runs in the 2nd and the 5th. Hit one off the top corner of the wall in the 2nd inning, and it bounced out.
Fastball up and in from Germano, and there's a fastball in, not up. From Beliveau, and even further. Same pitch, different velocity, same location, same result.
And he got to enjoy that second one. That was a no-doubter. Gomez followed with a home run, back-to-back in that 5th inning. He takes a strike. Carlos Gomez, with every home run he hits, it establishes a new career best. 12 homers now. 33 runs batted in for Gomez. Oh, had a big cut. Down he goes. Castillo strikes him out for the 2nd out of the inning.
Gomez had a nice pitch to hit, too. Castillo hung this slider. Check it out. That's a very hittable pitch. Maybe hung a little bit too much for Gomez. Just trying ever so slightly to shorten up on that 2-strike stroke.
Just trying to punch it into right field. Would that be back legging it, Rock, right there?
Yes, it would. When your weight on your finish is, leaning back in your back leg, that's the definition of back legging one. Usually guys on pretty good balance, like Ryan Braun, when he takes a swing, never back legs one.
There's a lot of applications for back legging. Fun for the whole family sometimes.
When you back leg one and you get one, they're fun to watch. But you back leg too much, you're not going to hit them.
Yeah, a lot of back leg pop-ups.
That's an uppercut. Basically, when you're back legging a ball. Sounds like an instructional someday.
Oh man.
I mean, I can.
You still got it in you, don't
I
you?
can back leg with the best of them.
You don't lead the Brewers franchise in multiple home run games without back legging a few,
And
like Bill Schroeder.
And you don't back leg many to the opposite field. They usually pull those.
2 outs, 0-2 on Segura. Young shortstop is up there to hack. He's going to be a good hitter, many feel. He's done it in the minor leagues. Trying to make that transition. Probably in the big leagues about a year too soon, but the Brewers, they've been very pleased with what they've seen from him.
Has to get his at-bats, continue to improve defensively. Looks very smooth out at shortstop. Got a terrific arm. And at his age, he's just going to keep getting better at the plate. He's got the confidence for it, or he wouldn't be here right now.
0-2 the count. LUCROY still at first. And Segura lays off. This time last year, Segura's season was over. A hamstring injury while he was in Single A. Missed the final 2 months of the year. Started this year in Double A in the Texas League with the Angels. Hasn't played a day of Triple A baseball.
More and more guys his age getting to the big leagues. 21, 22 years old. Bryce Harper 19.
Jose Veras will be next on the mound for the Brewers. And the Cubs have a few 20-somethings in their batting order tonight. 2-2.
I mean, early 20s. Starlin, Castro, Vitters. Guys very young.
Good battle going here with Segura and Lindy Castillo. 8 pitches. Segura fell behind 0-2. And a line drive back up the middle. Beautiful piece of hitting that time. Segura with a single. His first hit of the ball game.
Yep, and a 9-pitch at bat ends up as a base hit. Yeah, you love to see that. Yeah, fouling off some pitches, able to get one that he likes, and nearly got a piece of Lindy Castillo. Hits that one hard right back through the middle. And look out. Nice piece of hitting. Now that's an example of good balance after follow through. The opposite of a back legger.
Well, Segura with that single means every position player in the Brewers starting batting order with at least one hit. 13 hits total. Now Cody Ransom to pinch hit for Manny Parra. 2 on, 2 out. Checking some other games around the big leagues. They've got a good one going in Washington tonight. The Braves and the Nationals all tied up. That game's in the bottom of the 8th. 2 contenders. The Braves lead the wild card race, and the Nationals with the best record in the National League. Matter of fact, the best record in baseball, the Washington Nationals. The Atlanta Braves have 70 wins this year. They have the 3rd best record in the National League, and yet they are 5 games back in their own division.
And the Nationals, 29 games over 500. That's a heck of a year.
Nats have won 7 of their last 10. We'll see them in mid-September. The largest division lead in baseball, the Reds. They lead the Central Division 6.5 games. Cincinnati lost today to the Phillies. Cardinals are off tonight. Pirates have a chance to make up ground, but they trail 3-0 in San Diego. That game's in the 3rd. Ransom strikes out, and that will retire the side. Strength of an 8-run inning, an 8-run 5th for Milwaukee. And our Miller Lite What's on Tap back at it tomorrow. 6:30 is airtime. Cubs Brewers for game 2 of this series, and then the finale on Wednesday. The Brewers will take Thursday off. Then they start a series in Pittsburgh on Friday. Jose Veras on to work for the Brew Crew.
And Veras appearing in his 54th game, a .468 earned run average. You see the strikeouts to innings pitch ratio for Jose, very good. He threw 2 scoreless innings on Thursday against Philadelphia, and that included 4 strikeouts.
Well, the Brewers trying to take this one to the finish line and make a winner out of Mark Rogers for the first time in his career. Anthony Rizzo leads off. What a start to a big league career he's off to, Anthony Rizzo. was called up and was on fire to start. He was actually hitting at one point 386. His numbers have tailed off a little bit, but still very solid across the board. Rizzo now at 296. Has 2 hits tonight, a double and an RBI. He's walked and has a stolen bases as well. Right off the end of the bat, Veras will make the play for the first out. Our text question tonight, courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming. Which franchise is in better shape right now, the Cubs or the Astros? John in Pleasant Prairie. By far the Cubs. Astros, they're in deep trouble, and they're going to the American League. They just fired their manager, Brad Mills. I mean, you could tell when you talk to Dale Swain, he's frustrated about the losses. I mean, that's going to wear on anybody, but he loves where this organization is headed. These young prospects that they have.
Yeah, they have a plan. They've got some young players that they can build on, and they're going to have some money. Some money coming off the books, and you would imagine that the Cubs are going to be active in the Hot Stove League this winter, picking up some players. Not hard to find players that want to come to Chicago.
It's probably the friendliest travel location you can have as a player. I mean, being in Chicago, you're in the center of the country. You're in a division where all of your travel to these various division opponents is 45 minutes to an hour. You're always going to have an interleague series with the White Sox.
And it's not going to be as easy travel for any team in the Central Division coming up next year. It's going to be more of a balanced schedule. You don't play as many teams against your own division. So I think every team in the Central, their travel is going to be increased quite a bit, including Milwaukee, unfortunately.
2 balls and a strike on Soriano. Well, one of the bigger questions the Cubs have, will Soriano be a Cub next year? He has 1 year left on a monster deal. It was an 8-year contract that Soriano signed. This is year 7. It's been reported that the Cubs would pick up much of that salary to trade Soriano, but no takers yet. Soriano has a no trade clause as well. We figure that'd be a bat that a lot of contending teams could use right now. But there's just the size of the contract versus the production that you have to weigh. And of course it has to be somewhere Soriano wants to go. Got him. Veras struck him out on a curveball.
The patented Jose Veras 3-2 curve. Able to get Soriano. Wasn't looking for that pitch. You know, the other thing about Soriano in that contract, he's pretty one-dimensional at this point. Can't run anymore. And somewhat of a liability defensively out in left, which makes it even more difficult to trade him. That curveball catching plenty of the plate. Surprising Soriano.
9-4 Brew Crew. 2 outs in the 8th. Starlin Castro now against Jose Veras. We've seen Cameron Lowe, Mike McClendon, Manny Parra, now Veras. Mark Rogers left this game trailing 3-1. But the Brewers erupted for 8 runs in the 5th. And Rogers a chance to win his first big league game. Big fastball for a strike. 0-2 the count. See the Dodgers and the Giants hooked up with a good one in Los Angeles. It's 1-0 Giants, 4th inning. Great pitching matchup there. Bumgarner against Kershaw. 1-2 on Starlin Castro, who's hitless today. 0 for 3. Curveball missed. 2-2 now. Well, you wonder if Veras will be allowed to try to finish this game. Would he come back for the 9th?
I'm betting on Livan Hernandez.
Could be a Livan Hernandez sighting tonight. They don't call him the finisher for nothing. Got him. Big fastball, and Castro down on strikes. Jose Veras with a 3-3 down inning. A couple of strikeouts.
Live, the Brewers with a comfortable lead right now as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and the good news here is Mark Rogers has a very good chance now to pick up his first big league win.
I'll tell you, a big night for Mark Rogers. You know, he got in his regular routine after versus baby. But the one thing you look at a young pitcher is you look at how he can bounce back. Tonight he started off slow, although he had good command of his breaking ball. After that second inning, he was throwing the ball to locations very well. Good job by Mark Rogers.
Our Marshfield Clinic shining moment is the Brewer starter today, and boy, it would be a big and memorable win, obviously, for Mark Rogers if the Brewers can hang on here. Oh, so close, and we'll cover it all. Hope to hear from Mark Rogers after the ball game on Brewers Live, guys.
All right, Craig and Augie, thank you. This game will end at some point. And Craig and Augie will have Brewers Live for you when that happens. Michael Bowden is on the pitch.
And another guy coming over from Boston. He was acquired in that Marlon Byrd deal on April 21st. The second time he's been with the Cubs this year. He most recently got called up on August 13th.
So here is Nori Aoki to start it. There's a strike from Bowden.
You think this game's going long?
Oh, no, it's been very enjoyable. But I'm just saying it will end at some point. We're in the bottom of the 8th. And then Brewers Live will be right there for you, like that warm glass of milk. Little flare that is going to drop a base hit. Nori Aoki putting some English on it, if that's possible for a guy from Japan. And that'll be his 3rd hit of the ball game.
And 3 for 4. He's got a sacrifice fly. And Bowden giving, I think, look, a splitter or something like that. And that looked like one that Castro probably should have had. Misjudged it. Looked like he was able to get there, but just off his glove. A little bit of a slice as it got out there. You see Castro upset with himself.
The ball had some serious spin on it. Looked like a wiffle ball in the air. So they promptly throw it out, and here is Ricky Weeks with Aoki at first. There's a strike. Well, Ricky Weeks batting for the 5th time. He's 1 for 4. Oh, there you go, Rock. The finisher.
Just had a feeling.
Levon. Always thoroughly entertaining to watch under any circumstances. Levon Hernandez.
Yep.
You get the feeling Levon Hernandez going to be 50 years old. He'll be pitching in some league somewhere.
Yeah. He loves it.
He does. That's what's so infectious, that he shows up every day. He's got a big smile on his face. He loves the game.
Yes, he does.
And he's been at it for a long time. 17 years in the big leagues can sometimes make you a little rough around the edges, but you feel like Hernandez is, you know, he's got that rookie enthusiasm still.
Yeah.
Speaking of 50-year-old comebacks, did you hear the story about Roger Clemens? He signed with, had a workout for and signed with as Weeks strikes out for the first out. Signed in the Independent League Sugarland Skeeters down in the Houston area. He's going to pitch in the Independent League. He's 50.
Yeah, and you wonder why. What do you think Roger Clemens is going to get out of that?
He loves the game. He's going to break some bats. He's going to dominate some people.
Drill some guys.
I mean, it's hard to turn that off.
Right. You're right.
I'd go see him pitch. Here's Ryan Braun. I've driven you by that sugar factory there outside Houston. That's why they call it Sugarland.
Yeah. I don't recall.
No?
That was on the way to where?
The Houstonian. Ryan Braun with 2 hits, 2 singles, 2 for 4 tonight. Big damage done in the 5th inning. 8 runs in for the Brew Crew. Braun was a part of it. Had a base hit that inning. Out in front of that one. Castro is back. He wants it. And there is out number 2. A busy night offensively for the Brewers. Every regular has a hit tonight. Aoki with 3 hits. LUCROY with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. 9 runs, 14 hits for the Crew.
Yep, and a season high in runs in an inning in the 5th. 8.
Here's ARAMIS Ramirez. Oh, that had to hurt. Long game like this, your pitcher's giving up a lot of runs, and you just wear a foul ball. Don't see a lot of catchers with the helmet forward like that.
Yeah.
It's like the old turtle shell.
It looks like a kind of a shortened version of the helmet, or is that a regular helmet? Didn't know the mask could fit like that.
Keeps the sun out of your eyes. It's not the most stylish look, but Looks like it has a purpose for Castillo. 0-2 on Ramirez. And down he goes. Inning over. We head to the ninth. 9-4 Brewers. Last call for the Cubs. Here comes the finisher. A high-octane inning for sure. The Brewers 8 runs, 7 hits in the 5th. Lead it 9-4. She's been holding up that sign all night, helping us promote Brewers Live following the game. And don't forget the Brewers Live instructional after the game. Bill Schroeder and Jerry Augustine will break down some of the techniques and strategies of the game. Haven't checked your Twitter page in a while at Brewers Fan Camp. What do you have coming up tonight on the instructional, Rock?
I'm not sure if it's posted yet, but we're going to, we were talking about Cameron Lowe and his sinker and the importance of Lowe getting his fingers on top of the baseball. This is the kind of thing we can do when Jerry Augustine's at the ballpark.
Pitcher's perspective.
Right. And when he gets on the side of the baseball with his fingers, the sinker flattens out a little bit. That's when he gets in trouble. So Jerry's going to demonstrate that. We will be in the bullpen if anybody's interested.
All right. That's good for our director to know, and some of our cameramen who will be shooting said instructional. Now that seems like an instructional that Jerry might be able to do on his own.
Well, somebody's got to catch the pitches.
Oh, okay. That'll be your role?
That will be my role.
Great.
Actually, I don't think I'm going to have him throw any pitches. I don't want to get hurt.
Castillo with a base hit off Livan Hernandez. First batter faced. And the Cubs have a man on to start this inning. Got to send up a pinch hitter here, Luis Valbuena. Well, Valbuena getting an at-bat against Livan Hernandez. Well, you can always count on Hernandez to throw strikes.
Man, with a lot of different pitches and not just the fastball. He can command everything, different arm angles, different speeds. Doesn't hardly ever get over 85, 86 miles an hour with any of his pitches.
Valbuena, the runner at first. Brewers set up to turn 2 as Hernandez misses with a curveball. A lot of offense tonight. Brewers 9 runs, 14 hits. The Cubs 4 runs on 7 hits. Cubs have committed 2 errors. And all of that offense with a home plate umpire and Eric Cooper, who has 3 no-hitters as a home plate umpire. He's called.
Which means you're saying he has a small zone. Or a large zone, I'm sorry.
Or he just called the strikes that were thrown. That one's hit well, deep right center. And that one's off the wall. Gomez plays it on a hop throw to second. It's a good one. The tag out is the call. What a throw by Gomez.
Well, he just can't do that as a base runner, down by 5 runs. Wow. That's inexcusable. Boy, Gomez on his horse. He played it beautifully off of that wall. He knew he couldn't get there. He waited for the carom and threw a strike over to Segura for the out. Boy, watch him play this beautiful. You can't do it any better than this. Well, he knows he can't get it. He plays the hop, and look at his throw into second base. Are you kidding me? That is beautiful. Boy, textbook. That is awesome.
The panic started to set in with Valbuena as Gomez just played that perfectly.
He got his hand in there, didn't he?
I think he did. He was able to avoid the tag, but didn't beat the throw. And Gomez picks up an assist. He guns down Valbuena. So the first out, runner at third base and 1 out. And here's Darwin Barney.
The other part of that play that shouldn't go unnoticed, the fact that Segura was out in the cutoff position, realizing how quickly Gomez was getting to that baseball, he hustled back to second base for that throw. Because off the bat, and shortstop not figuring there's going to be a play at second base. He did a nice job getting back.
Well, tomorrow the Brewers will send up Marco Estrada. And it's Chris Russin who will be making his major league debut tomorrow for the Cubs. Gallardo is set to go on Wednesday. Giovanni Gallardo returned to the ball club today after dealing with some family matters back in Texas, an illness in the family. We certainly want to wish Giovanni and his family well. Mark Rogers in line to win this one. Hernandez trying to finish it out. 1 gone, 9th inning. Three and 2 to Barney. Got him. Hernandez strikes out Darwin Barney.
Threw a little slider, 81 miles an hour, had Barney out in front. There it is, a little bit of a wrinkle to it, and way out in front over the top of it. What's that, 12 strikeouts you have? Brewers are racking them up again tonight.
They are the Doug Melvin stat of the night. The Brewers have a chance this year for the second most strikeouts in the history of baseball.
I've got 12
as a pitching staff. Mark Rogers had 7, and then I stopped counting after that. No, I'm just kidding.
I didn't.
12's good. You always look up on the board out there the facing of the due deck.
You just count the orange K's every third one.
There's a swing and a miss, and Joe Mather down in the count 0-2. Cubs are down to their last strike.
So there's 4 orange Ks. That means 12.
I never knew that. I thought those were called in swinging strikes.
No.
Nice. There they are. There's 12 of them. The finisher trying to do just that. 0-2 pitch. And that skips away from LUCROY, and a run will score. It'll be a wild pitch. And an earned run. Brewers Live coming up after the game. Post-game instructional. Into center field. Gomez is there. And that caps off a terrific night for the Brew Crew as they defeat the Cubs. A final of 9-5. Mark Rogers wins his first big league game. Justin Germano, the loser. Big day for Jonathan Lucroy. 2 home runs, 4 runs batted in. Much more still to come. We check in with Craig Kashawn. What do you have coming up on Brewers Live, Craig?
Well, Brian, that's a pretty good battery made combination for a victory today against the Chicago Cubs. And we'll have a battery make connection in Augustine and Schroeder talking about that plus much more. Brewers Live on the way on Fox Sports Wisconsin.